Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a nice weekend. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, actually. I'm going to be making a video about how to get a job as a software developer in Amsterdam and what you can expect from the interview process, basically. Before we get into the actual video, I wanted to just talk about some feedback I got on the videos. So I fixed the whole webcam thing and making the editors a bit like more zoomed in. Some other things I was told is to give more context to the video. So I'm going to try to explain what situation I'm in, what's the motivation of the video, and so on. And also I'm going to kind of play around with editing for the first time in this video. So let me know what you guys think about that and whether it's actually making the video more interesting. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time. Right, so I've just graduated from my bachelor's degree at the Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. I've got the diploma here ready as well, so you guys can see I'm not capping. So naturally, the next step is to apply for some jobs in Amsterdam and see what comes. So I also have this Notion ready with kind of all the summary of what I'd like to talk about today, and basically how to help you guys land that job that you're looking for, and also how to get the offers in the first place. So yeah, over the course of 6 or 7 months, I've applied to many companies, and from the ones that have got back to me with also a useful interview, things that I've learned, I've kind of note down here. So Fittery, that's kind of where I just finished my internship, so I had to do an interview for them. We had Net Company, that's like a consulting company. EY, it's obviously one of the big four, another consulting company. Check and Code Grade, which are a bit more like startup vibes, like team of 10 to 25 people. Mazarius, which I didn't really need to do any interview actually to get an offer. It was basically, are you a developer and do you speak Dutch? Then here's the job. So no notes here. And then Fittery was a while ago, but yeah, overall still six interviews done. And I'm gonna kind of summarize all the questions I've been asked, all the situations I've been put in, what were tough, what's easy, what you need to memorize, all those kind of things we're going to talk about in this video. All right, so let's hop into the agenda of today. And the first step is going to be actually landing that interview or hearing back from that job you applied for. So I have some tips on how to achieve both of those. But first, how this process works usually is either recruiters from big companies with bigger budgets will come approach you and ask you if you're interested in the position and whether you want to have a conversation to know more. That's the easy way it happens. It usually happens from bigger companies. So if you go on my browser, you can see, some people, the James, these guys, they're reaching out to me and asking me if I would like to know more about some job offer. And the other way is just smaller companies, they don't have enough budget to do that, so they just list their job somewhere on LinkedIn or Glassdoor. I like to use LinkedIn, but that's just a preference. So those are the two ways that you can either land that interview. And my tips to get more responses, more people who are interested in you, are to have as many different websites that kind of show off your skills and your portfolio, and basically to see the projects and the work that you've done. So LinkedIn is the most important one because that's where people usually reach out to you and come to know about you. So in my LinkedIn, put what job you're looking for or what position you are a specialist in. So here I have full stack developer because that's the thing I have the most experience with. I also put my credentials, right? I have a bachelor's in computer science. So now people who are searching for full stack developers will hopefully land on my page. I also have this open to work banner. So that all boosts your search rankings. Then about me section, include your top skills, whatever things you've used. And here's the section which I would really recommend every developer to have. So I have a link to my GitHub, to my YouTube channel, and to my personal portfolio website. So these are all different resources that recruiters can look at to see kind of who I am and what I'm capable of. So if you go on my GitHub, for example, let me make sure I zoom in. Pinned. This is important. Just put your best repositories, the repositories that demonstrate the most amount of work and your highest level of skill. Pin those so recruiters can instantly go in, check out the code, and see where you're at. Make it look nice. This is called a profile readme, where you can put your GitHub stats if you'd like. It looks nice. It makes people want to stay on the page and check you out further. Include your contributions, those kind of things. Next, if you have a YouTube channel included. If you don't have a YouTube channel, maybe you can start one, or you can start making blogs somewhere, some other thing that you do in your free time. If you can, just link to it. Create a personal portfolio website. Again, I used Hostinger here to create one for $40 a year. $40 a year for just a website like this, where any recruiter can just hop on, see who you are, see what projects you've worked on, get distracted by basically who you are and the things that you've done. And then they can come back and really have a good understanding of you. They can see that you're motivated, and you're probably going to land that job, at least the interview. Another advice I have is to create like a stunning CV, like make it modern. Don't use those black and white with the boring fonts. My CV looks like, as you can see, it's like this red and yellow style. It includes the work experience. Like most of these work experiences are just personal projects. So you don't need a job to fill this page up. Just work on some things and then talk about them. Make them sound nice. Like here I said I worked on a mini business, like make it sound nicer than what it might actually have been. Include an exchange program if you went on one. Include your grade and any things you achieved. If you have any references, include those. The basic CV stuff. But most importantly, I would say is like make it look nice. Make it look colorful. Make people open it and think like, okay, interesting. This is something a bit different. I use Canva to build this for free. I have just a version connected to my account, so anytime I need to update it, I can just update it for free. I would recommend just doing that because the other ones will usually cost you. All right, so let's say you followed the steps in step 1. So you managed to land that interview, you managed to get noticed, and now you're being invited to what I like to call a coffee conversation. So the point of this is just to test your soft skills, make sure your motivations are right, and make sure you understand what the job offer is, and if there's any like weird things that they might not be able to accept you, like maybe you need a work visa or something. It's very unlikely that you fail this step because it's usually just 15 to 30 minutes, and then they'll pass you on to the more technical interviews. But I would recommend memorizing the answers to some soft questions for this part, because they're usually going to ask you stuff like, why do you want to work for the company or for this company? Have that memorized. You shouldn't think twice about it. Have your reasons in bullet point and explain on them. Like it could be you like startup companies, or you like the growth program, like the company because you use it on a daily basis. I don't know. Have your answers ready so you don't have to think about that, because almost all of them will ask you this. Why did you apply for this role? That's another one. Here I like to say, for example, the tech stack, I'm familiar with it, and I want to become more of an expert of it. So that's why I applied for this role. This one, about 50% of the people ask it, like, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? And to be honest, it's a good one to memorize because like no one knows the answer to this question, let's be honest. They're just testing your soft skills. Again, they're trying to see like, can this person communicate properly? So I like to just be honest for this question. I like to just say, like, I don't know actually. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to find a nice job. I'm trying to use this year to learn about how my next 4 years are going to be. Learn where my priorities are between like socializing and working and work-life balance. So yeah, I like to use this opportunity to like use this question as like an opportunity to also become more like a person, more human. Say that you also have doubts and you're not exactly sure and you're not always Mr. Confident. So I like to use that question to set myself up in like that kind of perspective. How do you overcome challenges and how do you work effectively in a team? I've heard this question rephrased like already a bunch of times. Again, enough interviews, you'll figure out how to just nonsense your way through this because no one's like, they're not actually listening to how you respond to these questions. They're just making sure that you're not like socially retarded, I guess. Always have 1 or 2 follow-up questions for them. This is an advice I have to like make them remember you. So yeah, either have them prepared or during the interview, like just have a back end, or during the interview, take some notes about what are some potential questions you can have. Because this kind of flips the script, they've been interviewing you for 15, 30 minutes. And then at the end, they're used to people saying like, oh, I don't have any questions. But you just ask 1 or 2 questions and you become the interviewer. And that, I don't know, that helps. It just creates a bit more of a bond. It's not like them against you. It's just a conversation. So I like to do it. And I would say that's how you pass this coffee conversation part. Again, most of the time I've never been rejected here. Just have your soft questions memorized. be natural, be yourself, and you will get to the next part, which is the technical interview. Okay, so at this point you followed steps 1 and step 2. You landed the job, you were discoverable, you passed the coffee conversation part, and you're on to the technical interview, which is probably the first time you're going to talk to some actual developers. So from the companies here, I've written down different questions that they've asked me, and I've kind of made a summary of like the main things that they talk about. And so for the technical interview, especially as a software developer, full stack developer, whatever it is, know your programming paradigms. So I've been asked in multiple interviews about something related to do with object-oriented programming. So you can see for Netcompany, they asked me what a class is, what an object is, what is object-oriented programming. They asked me those kind of stuff. So know your programming paradigms, functional programming, imperative, declarative. Know which languages fall under those categories. Know the pros and cons, what they offer. Know the different ways they implement things like encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. These things you should all know. You should just have them memorized. You know, if someone wakes you up at 4 a.m., they always say, you should just be able to say like abstraction, this is what it is. Because in CodeGrade, for example, this was one of the most tough interviews I had. It was also a higher salary range. So he really asked like technical questions. But some questions I got is, how does inheritance work in TypeScript compared to other languages? Explain what an arrow function is versus a function keyword in JavaScript. What are the weaknesses of TypeScript compared to other programming languages? So you can see that they kind of follow under this like paradigm, being able to compare, being able to outline what exactly these terms mean. Again, they can ask you a wide range of questions, so the best way to be prepared is actually just to be working on the job you're applying for. So have your side projects, go to your internships, get experience so that you're more likely to cover a question. It's as simple as that. A lot of the things that actually you don't learn until you have a job, they will ask you about. So for example, testing and verifying. For this reason, I would recommend if you work on side projects, learn how to test immediately, learn how to verify immediately. Don't just build something so that it's built. Learn what kind of frameworks you have to test and verify your software, because they love to ask about this. Again, what makes clean code, what makes maintainable code, what makes it readable, those kind of things. Again, the best way here is just get some experience, but generally there are some like pre-made answers you can have ready for this stuff. But these are the 4 main topics I've had. So again, if you look at Czech, the scooter company, some things they asked me on is like, what is an example of some work you've produced for a previous company or on a personal project? All right, then you explain, I've done this ticket. And then they ask me, for example, okay, you just explained that you did that work. How did you test that part of your implementation? So they refer to the problem and kind of dig deep, see exactly how much you know. They see if you've collaborated, so have you worked in a team of developers, how do you split the work? Again, some more soft skill questions. Another thing that's important is like Agile and Scrum, working together, collaboration, especially if you're applying for like bigger companies, like the consulting companies. They work always with Agile, so you need to know the rituals of Agile. You need to know the sprint retrospectives and those kind of things. So you can kind of get a bigger picture of what they're going to ask for. And also, surprisingly, I was asked some UML diagram questions, so you should know a little bit of that as well. Don't go too in depth, but Netcompany did ask me some stuff about that. So that's how you can best prepare for the technical interviews. Let's see if I can go through CodeGrade one more time, because this was the most interesting one. He covered like everything, from like programming languages to databases to security to testing, authentication, soft questions. He covered really everything. It was a tough interview. So again, he asked me the differences between non-relational databases and relational databases, the pros and cons, schema migration, some pretty technical stuff, some more architectural stuff. Testing, he asked me some metrics about code coverage. When is it limiting? When is it useful? When is a test harmful? How does peer reviewing affect code quality? and some soft questions. So the last possible step that you can have is like take-home assignments. So some companies do this, some companies don't. For CodeGrid, I had to implement a maze solver in TypeScript. At part of the EY job, I had to do some basic fetching from an API in what was it, C# Blazor framework. So I had to basically get some weather data and just display it on the screen. In Czech, I'm still waiting to hear back, but I've heard they have a take-home assignment as well. So you usually have some kind of small assignment, but for example, in Netcompany and in Mesarius and in Fidry, we didn't have to do that. It was just a technical interview. So that's something else. Again, it can be anything, so it's hard to prepare you for that, but just know that there are often take-home assignments where you have to then explain the code you did to solve the problem. And so yeah, that's kind of the 4-step process on how to basically land the job that you're looking for. So yeah, I'll try to share this Notion page so that anyone can like view it at least. I won't give editing rights, but anyone should be able to view this and go in and see what questions I was asked. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this different style video, and hopefully you guys get the job that you're looking for.